Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. In this video I will show you how I tab my medical coding manuals, and you will see tabbing for ICD-10 CM, ICD-10 PCS, and the CPT manual, and these are all the 2020 editions. And let's begin with the ICD-10 CM. As you can see, I put all of my tabs on the side here, and I did use the tabs that come with the manual. And for whatever reason, this edition this year, this publisher, the tabs are a bit flimsy. I've seen manuals with more sturdier tabs, but that's what we have here. And they are all of one color. And when you see up close, you see there's quite a bit of wear and tear. I'm a little rough on my manuals, but also they were flimsy to begin with. But we will get into the method, and it's more about grouping the way that I tab my manuals. I've seen people do it where they just go straight down the page and kind of follow the page down without doing any sort of grouping. So I wanted to show an alternate method here. And at the very beginning, I have the guidelines tab, symbols tab, and the anatomical illustrations. I don't really use these two, but I definitely use the guidelines a lot. Originally, when I tabbed my manual, I thought I would use the illustrations more and actually notate my illustrations, but I haven't gotten around to that. And I'm not sure why I included the symbols one, but that's that. And I didn't use the alpha index tab, the exam prep, 7th character codes, or the Z codes or appendices tabs. So mainly it's just alphabetic and the tabular tabs, and then the groupings that we'll go through here. So I know that I use guidelines a lot, and it is heavily notated section of the manual. So I made sure it was right up top and I have easy access to it. And just a tip for your guidelines, in previous years of the manuals, I was very heavy on highlighting. And you can see it's still very heavily notated, but with the highlighting, it looked like a coloring book. So it was a lot going on. So for this year, I just highlight where the chapters begin. So we have the heading for chapter 1 here, and then the heading for chapter specific coding guidelines. And so that's the only highlighting that you'll see on the page, is just where the different sections begin. And I feel like it's helped a lot with just my eye being able to catch which chapter I'm in, and then I can look at my notations and be able to go from there. And I do use red ink for anything I'm not supposed to do, and then different colors for anything else. So that's just a tip for highlighting and notating your guidelines. For studying and for work, it's just a part of the manual you'll be using a lot. So it's just something to consider. And so quickly going through the grouping of the tabs. The first group was the guidelines here, and then the next area has the neoplasms table, table of drugs, and external cause index. And they are all in their own group. I use neoplasm, the table of neoplasms, quite a bit. So again, I just wanted to make sure I had easy access to things that I know I'm going to use a lot. And table of drugs is another one. External, not so much. After that, we have the alphabetic index. All of those tabs here, they start midway down the book and go down to the end here at the Z codes, which you can't really see, But what's great about the method is that you can get a general sense of where you're flipping. So it's not all over the whole length of the page. I'm searching for tabs. I know the alphabetic's right here. So in the middle is going to be MN, you know, and then I can see at the bottom where I can find my Z codes. So it does make for even easy flipping, even if I can't see the tab. And I did put the tab here for a tabular list. So I can just flip all of this back and have easy access to, the rest of the book. And so because there are so many tabs for this section, I did use the full length of the page here to tab. But again, you know where you're tabbing, so we have easy access. If I need to get to my A and B codes, all the way down to my Z codes. And I do believe I added, no, not in this book. And the only other tab that doesn't belong to any of those is the one I have up here that I added for diabetes. So again, it's just an area that I use often. This was a bit of a mess, but I have a neater version over here. So diabetes with, it's pretty much the default is type 2 diabetes. So it's the same list for the most part as over here. So I don't necessarily have to look at all this. And then I added my note cards, and I just use some tape to tape them in there. So it's like a little flip book that I have for my flashcards, and I'm going to fill up the pages in the rest of this manual with different things that I want to know. And so I can still see the codes underneath. It's no problem. Okay, so that is my ICD-10 CM. Part 2, we will look at the CPT book, and I haven't really used it this year. I did do my tabbing though, but we can go through this one quickly. Again, everything is mostly on the side. One that I is a go-to for me is the E&M coding. And not too much to say about it, but it is a popular group of codes. So I put that at the beginning, and then I organized it by having the E&M there and radiology. Another popular one, even though it's so far deep down into the book, but I wanted to have easy access to it, so I put those two codes together in their one group. So I can flip to all the information I need for x-rays, MRIs. So E&M and radiology are together here, followed by anesthesia and path and lab. So I separated these out away from all of the surgery codes. And so surge is starting here, midway, half the book, just as in the alphabetic with ICD-10-CM. I started it about halfway down the book. So they have their group, surge has their own. And it just makes for easy flipping, even if they're overlapping, excuse me. You can get to them easy enough. And you can just see that here. And yeah, these are all of the surgery codes. Once you flip past path and lab, you have all of the, not necessarily surge codes, but allergy, vaccinations, psych, dialysis. So this whole section is separate from the body system codes for surgery. So that's that. I haven't looked at this book that often. And then we have our appendices up top, and then our Cat 2, Category 2, Category 3 codes. And I thought this would be helpful to have these up top here, because if you have to get to the appendices that describe the different modifiers, that would be good to have. And then also if you need to get to the vascular families, it's another popular area of the book to be in. There's easy access, right? So put it just right where you need it and you're good to go there. At the very bottom of the book, separated out, these are just homemade tabs. Well, this one here for table of contents. So in my previous versions and editions, when I was studying CPT, this was all very heavily annotated. So just to have easy access to the information, I have a table of contents one, and then I have the index tab that comes in the book at the bottom as well. So easy flipping. Okay, so that is the ICD-10, excuse me, that is the CPT 2020 edition. Okay, so the last manual, the ICD-10 PCS, and again, using the tabs that come with the manual. I didn't use the illustrations or approach table tabs, but everything else is on the side here. And alphabetic is separated out, so we have A through Z right up top here. And moving on, you can see that medical and surgery, the 0 codes are a very large group. And so it is starting again right after the alphabetic here and going straight down the page. Because there's so many to get to the rest of the codes here, you can flip back and see that it comes down to, I think there's more than that, lower joints. Yeah, it ends at anatomical regions. I'm actually studying ICD-10 PCS and patient coding, so I use it less than the ICD-10 CM, but I still wanted to group them in a way. I still wanted to do grouping. So at the very last one here is the anatomical regions, lower extremities. This is the last tab in medical and surge. So that would get flipped back. Make sure that's all of it. Okay. And so just to do a quick purview of all the rest of the codes, it is everything that's not medical and surgery codes. So starting with obstetrics, right at the top of the page there with the 1 codes, and just going down the page, going down the side here with the rest of those codes. And there's a little bit more room here, spacing that's happening, so it makes it easier. So you know new tech will be right at the bottom, that's the last group, and obstetrics right at the top, and you just go down the line there like that. So that's pretty much it. And again, there's still room on the top and the bottom for any additional tabs that you might want to add. That's the method. It's just grouping, and I like having the alphabetic separated out from the rest of the codes, so I just know where to look. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.